All right, the time is now 5:01. I'd like to call today's Utility Service Board meeting to order. To begin, I'd like to remind us that the City of Bloomington Utilities' mission is to enhance the quality of life in our community by providing safe, sustainable, and high-quality drinking water, wastewater, and stormwater services in a cost-effective manner, promoting public health, economic vitality, and environmental stewardship. If any board member has any personal or financial conflict with any issues or individuals on the agenda, then please be sure to recuse yourself during those portions of the meeting. We will begin with petitions and communications. Are there any petitions and communications from the public? Hearing none, we will move along to the approval of the meeting minutes from the previous meeting. Are there any questions or comments on the minutes from the previous meeting?
I move approval of our meeting minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Minutes are approved. Moving along to the approval of the claims. We'll begin with standard invoices with a pay date of October 24th for a total amount of $1,252,405.73. Are there any questions about the standard invoices from with the pay date of October 24th?
Okay, I move approval of standard invoices.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Standard invoices with the pay date of October 24th are approved. Next, we have a revision from the October 10th pay date standard invoices for a new total amount of $698,225.59. Are there any questions or comments on the standard invoices from October 10th?
I move approval of the revised standard invoices.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Standard invoices with pay date of October 10th. The revised version is approved. Next, we have utility bills for a total amount of $238,080.52. Are there any questions or comments on the utility bills?
I move we approve our utility bills for this invoice.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Utility bills are approved. Next, we have wire transfers for a total amount of $542,055.09. Are there any questions or comments on the wire transfers?
I move approval of wire transfers for October of 25.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Wire transfers are approved. Lastly, we have a special check run for an amount of $1,131.95. Are there any questions on the special check run?
I move approval of the special check run.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Special check run, easy for me to say, is approved. Thank you. Moving along to the approval of the consent agenda. Catherine Zager.
Good evening, I'm Catherine Zager, Utilities Director. I'm presenting tonight's consent agenda totaling $14,995. The first contract is with Vet Environmental Engineering LLC for $2,350 to perform a Phase 1 environmental site assessment for the Broadview Sanitary Sewer Extension. The second is with Sunset Hill Fence Co. for $7,780 for the installation of an automatic gate opener with sensors at Blucher Pool Wastewater Treatment Plant. Last is with Electric Plus Inc. for $4,865 for extending conduit to the back gate at Blucher Pool. Is there any member who wishes to consider one or more of these items individually? Hearing none, if there is no opposition, these items will be approved as recommended by staff. Hearing no opposition, the consent agenda is approved.
Thank you. Item number 6 is request approval of contract with South Central Community Action Program, Inc. Catherine Zager.
Good evening, Catherine Zager, Utilities Director. I'm presenting a updated contract with South Central Community Action Program. This is a one-year contract that can be renewed for up to 2 years for our ongoing partnership with SCAP, SCCAP, to provide financial assistance to our customers for their water utility bills. We've made a few updates to the contract that I'd like to highlight that I believe will reduce the barriers to providing assistance. These changes include, first, and this was implemented last year, but it's now in this updated contract, we've increased the income eligibility from 200% to 300% of the federal poverty guidelines. Increasing the pool of folks who'd be eligible. We also increased our annual assistance amount to $100,000 per year. In this contract, applicants are no longer disqualified for having their service shut off. We will still provide assistance even if they've been shut off. This was not the case in the previous contract, and I believe this likely will be our most impactful change. In the previous contract, we only paid for up to 2 months. This contract says that we will pay up to 4 months. People are still shut off after 2 months of non-payment. So what this is really doing is just paying for 2 months and the current bill to completely catch the customer up who's receiving financial assistance. And then the 4-month limitation is just to catch any one-off situations where maybe they weren't shut off after 2 months, maybe they had service for 3 months, because there are outlying cases like that sometimes. We now will either pay or waive fees as appropriate so that the customer does not have to pay their fees in order to receive assistance. And then previously, if someone used the program, they were not eligible to use the program for another 3 months. Now, customers can use this program anytime, up to 3 times in a calendar year. This increases the flexibility of the program because it's hard to predict people's financial situations. And so we've created, with the new guidelines for the program, we've created a situation where essentially, if we have a customer who is reliant on financial assistance, which does happen, this program will essentially pay for 3/4 of the year, with 3 months being that customer's responsibility. There is a line in the contract that allows for director discretion for extreme circumstances where we would extend the financial assistance, but standard and the expectation would be 3 times a year. I'm happy to take any questions. Thanks.
Yeah, Kat, we're increasing the amount to $100,000 a year. Is that what you said?
Yes.
How much have we been using how much we've been using the last few years?
So we're budgeting, I believe, $50,000 a year for this. And we were not meeting that. However, we wanted to make sure that with all of these barriers we're removing, that we would be, ideally, we will draw in more folks who are able to use the assistance. So we want to make sure that we have enough to accommodate that.
And would you say in general that this helps the bigger picture of us, not only helping folks that need a temporary lift and some assistance, but in the big picture, encouraging a way for folks to get on a regular schedule with us, and so we don't have as many delinquencies?
Absolutely. I think the way that this is set up will reduce shutoffs because our we're able to work with these customers who need financial assistance, who may be reliant on it, to work out a schedule with the payments, with those 3 months of payments that they would be responsible for.
Thank you.
I appreciate the efforts to help our customers when in their time of need and be able to provide their service, because we know that water is essential. I know that we are increasing the income limits so that more people are eligible. My one concern with extending the opportunities to get for essentially 9 months paid is that with our wider pool of being eligible, that we'll have more customers coming to us, and then we'll have people that have had it for 9 months and somebody coming in we won't have the funds available. And I know if we never come close to using all of our funds, then that's like a stretch, I guess, that maybe we still won't. And I guess that's the unknown. So I guess my concern would be that if we set the precedent that you can get it for 9 months, then people are going to expect for 9 months. And then how do you work your way back from that? That are we changing too many things in one swoop?
So, I don't know if this is something we could or should work our way back from. If there are customers so you have to qualify for the financial assistance. So 300% of the federal poverty guidelines is $96K a year for a family of 4, around there. Last time I checked the table, it may be updated, but it's around that. And so if we have customers who are in a situation where they regularly need to have 9 months paid through our financial assistance program, I more than welcome that because if they qualify, that's, maybe that they're spending that money on something else that they need. And so, I don't want their water bill to be a question mark.
Certainly.
Yeah.
I guess my point is that if we're budgeting 100,000, I don't want to go through that. And again, this is the unknown, right? But
Yeah.
potentially go through that quite quickly, and then does it become 200,000 next year or 500,000? And so I guess that's my concern, is that it could escalate quickly, and then we've set an expectation that this is something. I mean, obviously, we don't want people to be without water.
Yeah.
So I certainly understand that and appreciate these efforts, but I don't want it to get out of control, I guess. And I know that we would have it controlled, but with the expectation that you can get this, and then if our funds are depleted, then we're not able to help you. And I guess you would come back to us at that point. But I guess that's my comment, is that I think the 9 months with the increase of the income, or the requirement, that's my pause.
And one thing to note is that the way we had it set up before, it was we would pay 2 and then you could come back in 3. And so it was a very similar outcome. This is just a more flexible way to get there. So previously it was we would pay for 2, but then when you use the financial assistance, you had to wait 3 months before you could apply again. And so this just increases the flexibility of that. It hasn't really much changed the amount of months that customers would be responsible for. And also I just want to say that when I say under $50K, that was what we had budgeted before. We were, I think, for the year around $20K for the year. So I'm optimistic that 100 will cover any new customers who may use this, and our goal is to use it. So we'll see how this goes.
So if someone called in tomorrow, they're and this is voted on tonight, they call tomorrow, or is this on a calendar year, or what's the implementation here?
Yeah, so the direction to staff has been, once this passes, we can start utilizing this more flexible system. But really what we're going to do is do a big PR push come January 1 to advertise the program. We want to we need to update our brochures and update our website and really get the right materials out to folks.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
First, I assume this doesn't cover 100% of their bill. It's just assistance to help them pay a bill.
This would cover their bill. Yeah.
Entirely.
Yeah.
For 9 months, potentially.
Potentially up to. Yeah.
Okay, the next question is, how do you deal with students whose income would fall in the poverty line, but who aren't in poverty because they have parents? I'm just saying the people who live there are the people to whom you look at their income.
So that's one of the great parts about our partnership with SCCAP is that they deal with the application process. And so those students, if it was a student who needed to apply, they would apply through SCAP and then qualify that way. So I try to just stick with, do you qualify? Have you met the requirements for this assistance? Great. That's all I need to know. Yeah.
Real quick, do we know if South Central Community Action Program has any other resources for residents that may be in this situation, or utilities strictly through this program, this bill assistance program?
So there are other agencies in the trustee's office that customers are directed to, and when under our previous financial assistance program, when a customer was shut off and we were not able to assist them, they would be directed to the trustees or to, St. Vincent de Paul, other agencies like that. Yeah.
That'll be the same way going forward, or will part of this assistance program, the changes, will that go into reconnection fees if they get that far behind and stuff like that, or will that still go through the trustees?
No, the goal of this is that our financial assistance program will do more of that lifting. Our financial assistance program will do the lifting of your water utility bill. The trustees and other programs, they provide assistance for a lot of things. And so, this is our contribution, our lift for that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Would they still get their trash bill?
So, the way the program worked in the past was that it would cover their trash bill as well, so their cart. We are going to continue doing that. I think it would complicate things for customers to say, okay, well, we paid this, but sorry, we can't do anything about sanitation. We are tracking that, and that make sure it's paid through the interdepartmental.
So that comes out of the city, though.
Yes. So that whatever our financial assistance program covers will be paid back to us from the city. Yes.
And I assume sanitation is comfortable with their part of this?
Yes. So we confirmed with the controller before getting the contract approved.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments for Kat? Do we have a motion for approval?
All right, I move approval of our contract with South Central Community Action Program.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Request is approved. Item 7 is request approval of MOU between Bloomington Parks and Rec, CBU, and Bloomington Department of Public Works for operational responsibilities at Hopewell Commons. Catherine Zager.
Good evening, Catherine Zager, Utilities Director. I'm presenting this interdepartmental MOU between CBU, Parks and Rec, and DPW for the operational responsibilities at Hopewell Commons. This specifies that we are responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of stormwater infrastructure in the Hopewell East development specifically. The detention facilities that are highlighted in your exhibit serve the public right-of-way. Happy to take questions.
So this would just be like if there was another development within the city that was completed and then turned over to CBU to maintain? What's the, I guess, I don't remember serving on the board and having a contract, MOU, I mean, an MOU like this before. And so I guess this would be standard operating procedure to do things like this?
So, a couple things. So one, the purpose of this MOU, and we've had MOUs like this with parks, for example, Miller Showers, we say, you're gonna take care of this part and we'll take care of that part. This is very similar to that. So it says, it just, so that, years from now, when there are other people sitting in these chairs, they can point back to this and say, no, CBU agreed to only take care of this versus Parks, who was going to take care of that. And then, DPW, who will take care of this third thing. So that is maybe MOUs that are kind of similar that you've seen. And what is a shift in this one and likely future development at Hopewell is taking responsibility for detention. So, we take responsibility for water, sewer, gray stormwater in the right-of-way, very common. We do that a lot. This includes stormwater detention, which we haven't typically done in the past, but this is kind of a special case because the city is essentially the developer. And, we helped create the Hopewell Commons. We created this infrastructure, and the stormwater detention and the gray infrastructure associated with it was developed by the city. And as a department of the city, we will maintain it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions or comments?
Okay, I move approval of the MOU between the Bloomington Parks and Recreation and CBU for the operational responsibilities at Hopewell Commons.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Request is approved. Thank you. Moving along, next we have request approval of resolution 2025-21 to approve the forms of how do I say that? Ordinances adjusting rates and charges for septic haulers. Stephen Stanford.
Good evening, Steve Stanford. I'm the pretreatment coordinator. The CBU pretreatment group recommends that we make some changes to the hauled wastewater rates for the following reasons. The current rates that we charge were actually set in 2000, which was 25 years ago, and secondly, anybody who's been an adult since 2000 understands that everything's gotten much more expensive since then. And the main reason is that the rates that we charge today are not sufficient to cover the cost of treatment for these wastewaters that we receive at the Dillman Road plant. We've historically accepted these waters as a service to the community, the local residents, and the businesses, consistent with our mission statement, which is very important. Environmental stewardship really being a major factor here. We want to accept this water as opposed to having it disposed in some less desirable manner. Our billing rates have remained unchanged since September 2000. Since that time, the consumer price index increased 86%, And more importantly, from our perspective, the construction cost index maintained by Engineering News Record has risen by 218%. So things that we need to build, the capital equipment costs, everything we need to treat this stuff is far more expensive than it was when these rates were set. Last year, we commissioned Crow LLP to analyze our cost of treatment for these wastewaters. They broke it down into three pieces, the first being the strength charge. This is how many pounds of pollutant per gallon do we have in these waters that are delivered to the plant, as compared with how many pounds of pollutant do we have in a gallon of the regular sewage. Their idea, the main premise is that a pound of TS of suspended solids coming in through the sewer main costs the same to treat as a pound of suspended solids delivered by truck. The second piece, which is really a small part of the cost, is the bulk specific expense charge. This is plant staff, pre-treatment group staff, Carson and me, working through the contracting process and so forth with the hauler customers and those pieces. And finally, billing. Our billing department, it costs money for them to send out a bill. Based on the typical strength for septage reported by EPA and the factors specific to CBU, it was determined by Crow that our billing rate of 17.5 cents per gallon would actually cover the cost of treatment and administration for receiving these wastewaters. Our current rate structure is such that domestic septage is charged at approximately 2.1 cents per gallon. Grease waste is charged at approximately 5.9 cents per gallon. The wastewater treatment plant waste and industrial waste, which we've been receiving very little of late, 4.4 cents per gallon. Another major finding that we had was that all four of those categories of wastewater are of a similar strength. And when the rates were set in 2000, the domestic septage rate it was far lower than the other categories, despite the fact that the strength of these wastes and their cost for treatment is roughly the same, in the same magnitude at least. A billing rate of 17.5 cents per gallon would be very large to take all in one bite, and it would likely disrupt the hauled wastewater market in the area. And for that reason, the pre-treatment group recommends a stepwise move toward the actual cost of pre-treatment, and that we recommend a uniform rate for these high-strength wastewaters of 8 cents per gallon going forward. Regarding the financial impact to the customers, the rates and charges recommended herein are non-discriminatory, reasonable, and just. The recommended rate is based on the actual cost of providing the service and will enable the city to meet its revenue requirements for the sewage works. Finally, CBU Pretreatment Group notes that the 8 cents per gallon is approximately 1/2 of the state average for hauled wastewaters charged by pure POTWs. And so going halfway there in this step seems like a reasonable increment moving forward at this time. With that, I would like to ask CBU's approval for the resolution recommending the said adjustments to the Title 10 on the hauled wastewater rates.
Yeah, is the intent to increase it more in the future so that we're charging the cost of service?
This is, I would say that would be in the cards. And before we would take the leap to try to take the whole thing, take this part now, see where we are, where that gets us, reevaluate these costs of treatment, see what effect it has on the hauler market. You know, are we still going to get 7 million gallons of septage a year? It might be somewhat less going forward, which would be something we might consider at that time.
Okay, my memory also was that because our costs were so low, we were getting haulers from other cities to bring it in here, which seems wrong.
Yes, Commissioner Sherman, you're correct. Actually, our domestic septage constitutes 90% of the hauled wastewater we receive at Dillman, and 60% of that fraction is from out of county.
And my memory tells me that we compared our rates to Terre Haute. Is that correct? Am I correct in thinking that? And that they are considerably, like they are closer to the 17 cent rate. Is there going to be any, I mean, I know what Jim just asked, but I think the question was brought up that we have an expense for those out of county or those people, that 60%, to have them have an increased rate. Was there any more thought given to that?
The out of county, the current ordinance and the recommended revised ordinance includes a 50% surcharge on out of county customers.
That would be 12 cents.
Yes, sir.
So,
I know one of our hauler customers came and spoke with us here and provided, at least me, some education about this. And I know that some of our out-of-town haulers really service Monroe County as well. So their haul, even though their business is out of Monroe County, includes haul from Monroe County. So how do we know where this is coming from, I guess, and honor those people who are serving our Monroe County customers?
We're required under a NEPDES permit to actually keep a record of where each load of septage comes from, the customer's name, address, and telephone number. That's tracked with what we call the single load manifest system, and that was new. That was sort of added to our permit in July last year.
Okay.
So all of this is kind of an outgrowth to the revisions of our NEPDES permit last year.
Sure. So I guess my question, though, is if we have a hauler coming from Greene County that serviced western Monroe County, are they going to be charged the out-of-county rate for servicing western Monroe County?
No, they would not, because the billing rate would be determined on the source of the wastewater.
Okay. So I'm sorry, and you did say that, but I misunderstood. So they'll say, I picked up this load in Monroe County, or I picked up this load in Greene County.
Yes,
Okay.
that's required information.
And was there, and again, from my, our learning from our waste hauler who came and spoke to us, was there any consideration given to our donut counties around us that are bordering Monroe County to receive the in-county rate? And I know that we're, again, undercharging, I guess, what other, what we need to charge and what surrounding facilities charge, but
Still a shock to the system.
knowing that it is, and knowing that, like say in Greene County, where maybe they're just over the border and servicing customers in Greene County and coming to our plant to dispose of this, that we're their best option. It's not like they're coming to Monroe County because it's cheaper than going to Terre Haute. It's, 100 miles round trip closer probably. So I don't know. That's my thoughts.
Currently, it's less expensive to come here and less miles.
Sure, okay. So if the haul is done from Bloomington addresses, then it's at the Monroe County rate. And if it's hauled from addresses that are outside of Monroe County, then it's the out-of-county rate.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Stephen, remind me when this goes into effect?
This would have to be approved by the City Common Council.
Yeah. But then when?
The,
Goes into effect, I'm sorry, I'll jump in, Chris Wheeler.
Please do.
Will go into effect when city council approves it.
Well, I wish there's a way we could warn.
We have.
our customers, I mean, they're gonna have to make adjustments to their own business model on this. It'd be great if we could make this an effective, like, January 1st or something, to give them a couple of months to adjust.
We were considering that topic this afternoon specifically, and what it was pre-treatment group's intention to sort of share a notice of intent with the waste haulers if y'all approve this recommendation this evening.
Well, that'd give them, basically, once the city council gets it, it's about 3 weeks till they get it approved. So,
I would guesstimate something more like 45 days, but, you know, on an optimistic time frame, but it would be close to the beginning of next year.
well, usually if it gets to the council, it's gonna be a 3-week deal, unless there's problems. Because of first reading and then second reading and approval. I just think it doesn't seem right to me to hit the haulers with this with a 3-week notice.
I would point out that we've had open communications with the haulers regarding this matter, and more than one of the haulers has told us that, you know, your rates are actually too low, and we need to know what they're gonna be and when the rate's gonna change.
That's good. If you can tell me that we've sent a letter to every one of our hauler customers, letting them know this is coming, then I feel better about it. Otherwise, I think we ought to phase this in over 3 months or something. We can do that. I mean,
I assume that the haulers are just going to pass the charge on to the customers.
That would be my expectation, because
The haulers who are going to bear it.
right, but they're gonna need to, they're gonna need to tell their customers.
We can have you, your motion can be to approve the resolution of the form of ordinance subject to an edit to the ordinance that reflects that it will become effective on January 1. We can make the effective date whatever we want it to be. And in fact, Stephen and I apologize, apparently the Crow study recommended that the rate go into effect on January 1. Our form of ordinance says it's effective when council passes. So, I mean, there's already a recommendation in there. There's nothing wrong with us moving it to January 1, and we are only just a month or so away.
It's not going to make a big difference.
It helps, I think it'll help the haulers and their customers, because they're gonna need to adjust their own budgets.
Otherwise, they would just show up the next day and then be charged a different rate.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, even if we told them all tomorrow that we passed this, and as soon as the city council that can be pretty fast, depending upon the council's agendas, but I think January
Yeah,
1st would
I
be
think that's
reasonable, because we could alert them that we've passed this,
Yeah.
and we expect that it will go into effect January 1st. We can do that this week. Send a letter to our hauler customers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then, I don't know, any other discussion? Yeah.
Just a comment. I don't like it when one group of our ratepayers is subsidizing the cost to other ratepayers. I don't like it when the irrigation users are paying a lot less and it's subsidized by other people. The sooner we can get to true cost of service for everyone, the happier I think we'll be as a board.
And if I could chime in again, to remind the board that there is going to be a full wastewater rate case happening next year, which I would anticipate will include another look directly at the sludge hauling rates. I don't know why these weren't generally being considered in our previous wastewater rate cases, but for some reason, the sludge hauling was not being included in the rate. I don't know the answer to that. They just weren't.
We started it, and it proved to be a big undertaking. It was gonna slow down the rate case, so it got pitched.
There you go.
I do appreciate that these things have been brought to our attention and that we're moving in the right direction.
In the letter to our hauling customers, can we, and then saying that we anticipate this to be passed by city council, go into effect January 1. I know that you've communicated with them, but can you also list again, like, the recommended rate was 17.5 cents, but we're going with 8 cents. But do expect that the rate will, be increased after the wastewater rate case.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It just continues to be communicated so they know this is the first but not the last. Thank you.
Well, I move approval of Resolution 25-21 to approve the forms of ordinances adjusting rates and charges for septic haulers with the amendment that the resolution would, upon approval from the city council, would then be effective January 1st of 2026.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Request is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Next, old business. Any old business from the board? Old business from staff? New business. Any new business from the board? New business from staff? Subcommittee report. Mr. White.
Yeah, the Property and Planning Subcommittee met earlier this afternoon and received a report from Richard Martin about rural sanitary sewer service in Monroe County. He brought us up to date on current partnerships that the district, that the CBU has with the rural sewer district in Monroe County, and talked about possible ways that we can continue to work together in the future. And I think it was a good update for many of us, and we can follow up on some of these opportunities. I didn't realize we did as many things as we do with them now, but it sure furthers, I think, our mission of being good environmental stewards to help support them. That's a good thing. As long as we're, as Jim mentions, getting the right kind of revenue for the services we're providing.
Great. Anything to add? Awesome. Thank you for that report. Item 12, staff reports. No staff reports. Item 13, petitions and communications. Any petitions and communications from the public? Hearing none, do we have a motion for adjournment?
Move adjournment.
So moved. Thank you.